That is the measure of who you are as a man or a woman, and I stand by that. We are the Armed Attorneys. Today we're talking about a confrontation between a gun and a baton that happened in line at a Costco. This was brought to our attention by Mr. Guns and Gear. Thank you very much. It's an interesting legal breakdown for self-defense on both sides, so stick around. We're going to talk through it. But before we get started, show your support for the Second Amendment by hitting the like button, and please subscribe to our channel. Okay, Richard, let's talk today.
Sure. So we're going to play this video for those folks who are maybe just listening. I'm going to kind of lay out chain of events. We got a busy Costco. This is around the holidays. We have a purported line cutter. We have a man open carrying who confronts the line cutter, and then alleged line cutter pulls baton. So let's check it out.
Look at all those people over there. He took cuts in front of me. What makes you think? Okay, you know what? Hey, you need to fucking bring your level down and not get in my face like that. There's a line. Hey, listen to me, buddy. Don't come running up on my car yelling at me like that. Then don't take cuts. Oh, shit. You ran up on me, my guy. You need to back away. You need to back away, my guy.
You have a gun?
I don't know where this happened, but you know how I know that it wasn't in Texas?
Okay, I'm interested. Why?
Because there weren't two guns.
Well,
Also, there were other people in the background. When that first gun came out, everybody's gun would be out.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know if you've seen that video where it's like, guy tries to rob store, proceeds to be shooted by everyone.
Yes,
Yeah.
shooted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I have seen. Yes, so that's how I know this was not in Texas.
Yeah. So let's talk about the first kind of the step-by-step self-defense implications to this, because I would say the first kind of important takeaway that people have on this is, in order to have a successful self-defense case, there's an element that we usually call unclean hands or innocence, where, what juries want is for a person to just be bopping along, threat presents itself, and then you're forced to respond to it. And it doesn't seem like we have that here.
No. So I will say, and I'm more offended by this behavior than Richard is, because we talked about it a little bit before we started filming.
We have lines for a reason, all right?
I know. No, I believe in the social contract as well. However, tan shirt, first of all, he's got big pull your gun out energy from the get-go. I knew.
BPGOE.
Yes, exactly. I knew before I knew anything, I knew that guy was going to end up pulling a gun. And unless, this is not the law, personal opinion, unless the person you are correcting out in public is actually your child, who you're trying to teach to obey the social contract, mind your own biscuits.
Yeah.
It doesn't help.
What surprises me is the number of cases that we have had where it's a Whataburger line. It's where it doesn't happen Chick-fil-A because you got people directing traffic there. Yeah. Also, when you confront somebody in a line, especially, when you vehicles, things like that, what's your game plan? You're locked into this line.
Yes, we get lots of calls where people have pulled out guns in lines. I even got one at a Dutch Brothers not that long ago. I thought that was a hippie place.
Yeah, what are you doing, guys?
What are you doing? Anyway, but yes, don't.
So that undermines because the way that juries look at this is, if you are that pushing of the marble or the knocking of the domino that leads to this chain of events that would lead to a use of force or deadly force, juries just generally, they don't like that. And it's based on the idea of provocation, not legal provocation, but just starting the fight. I mean, it's a real thing.
Right. And there are lots of states where there is something called, it is called provocation, but it's a legal term of art. It's not doing what this guy did.
Yeah, it's not starting the incident.
So I will say, first off, I knew that guy was going to pull his gun just by his vibe. And he could have had to shoot someone that day. And if he did, he was going to go on trial for it. And why would you put yourself in that situation? Why?
Yeah.
That's just my...
So let's go back to, we go back to our guy in the car. He goes out to the trunk of his vehicle, retrieves the baton, extends the baton.
Yeah.
At that point in time, kind of looks like
let's talk about
kind of been a cool down also.
Yeah, but let's talk about him getting the baton. Was him getting the baton justified in response to this guy coming up, invading his space? Let's be honest. At his vehicle, invading his space, screaming at him, and the fact that the guy is open carrying. Do you think the retrieval of a baton, and not the way he did it, but just generally the retrieval of arming oneself, do you think that's justified?
Probably not in this situation.
Okay, tell me why.
So, two things. And we'll see states have different kind of rules on this, but would purported line cutter have been justified of punching this guy in the face? And I think
he probably would.
No, he's gone over, he's yelled at him, he's gotten close to him, but I don't think he's done anything that is manifested other than words. And,
Okay.
reasonable minds are going to disagree.
I could see an argument that is words alone. I guess what offends me is the guy's like pinned back against his car, in his face, open carrying. That's what offends me.
If he would have pulled
open carrying doesn't offend me, but it's the fact that he's being the aggressor.
If he would have pulled the baton out of his side door,
yeah,
I would totally be on board with you. But there was a few seconds of cooldown. There was time to, and this is what we talk about. It was their opportunity to call for help or some other reasonable, safe alternative. Getting in your car.
He could have gotten in his car and locked the door.
Right.
Yeah. So the way he did it, I agree. The way he did it, not justified.
But I'm not. Yeah, I won't even have to rely on that. But having that kind of cool off period, going to the trunk of your car, opening the trunk, grabbing the wrong thing, throwing something back in, grabbing it back.
Grabbing the right thing.
At that point, I think he has really undermined his immediacy that would not justify a use of force even.
Correct. And I will say, I probably need to cool down because I'm kind of anti-tan shirt guy just for starting the scenario. So let me back up my thoughts because yes, there is, and I don't like what tan shirt does. But yes, he could have gotten in his car, shut the door and locked it. If you are able to maneuver and walk away like that, you are not immediately in danger. And tan shirt, I feel like people are going to criticize me and be like, she just doesn't like people open carrying. I personally don't open carry, but I have no problem with other people doing it. It's not that I have a problem. It's that if you are the aggressive party and you are also open carrying, just expect trouble. I guess that's my opinion. Yeah. Expect trouble. But so he's not touching it. He's not doing anything in that moment that would really.
I'm team tan shirt with the understanding that he's totally going to get arrested if he had to shoot the guy.
Team tan shirt in this part of the scenario. Absolutely.
So, because we go back, he goes, retrieves baton. Would he have been at that moment in time when he grabs the baton out of the trunk of his car, would he have been justified in punching the guy in the face? I don't think so.
Yeah, okay, probably not.
Okay, and so that's where I'm at there. So when he does pull that, I think the weight shifts back in favor of Team Tan Shirt.
I do. I think that we're Team Tan Shirt throughout the interaction at that point.
Yeah, with the so whips out baton. That's a threat of unlawful deadly force, and I think there's an argument.
It's a deadly weapon.
Yeah.
And you see, it's not like if he had retrieved a weapon and not kind of it's like the whipping of it out, not just the I've got something to defend myself if I need it. He's like I'm there.
Just like all the Facebook ads and Twitter ads I've received.
Yes.
I don't know what it is, but I am targeted with these batons
People want to sell Richard a baton. Yeah, I mean, the way he does that, absolutely. At that point, you pull your gun. I think that is justified.
And so at that point, we have Tan Shirt being presented with unlawful deadly force. Would it be reasonable and immediately necessary for him to, because at that point, he draws. And he produces, he presents. Would he be justified in using deadly force at that point?
I would have to go back and examine the video. I think my memory is, and everyone else will have watched it far more recently than I, who watched it, 10 minutes ago with you. My memory is he whips out the baton, but it's still down by his side. And I think, this is just, right, at that point, it's a jury issue if he shoots, right? Is the jury going to say that was immediately necessary because the attack was imminent? Or is the jury going to say the attack was not yet imminent because the baton was down by his side, not raised, ready to go? Mm-hmm. Your mileage will vary. Whatever jury shows up that day, potentially could say something totally different.
Yeah.
I think.
What good is the social contract if there's no enforcement mechanism?
I'm with you, but you just got to do it in when someone leaves that shopping cart out in the middle of the street where it's hard to, the middle of the parking lot where you're having to maneuver around it, and I just watch people do it. But what you do is you don't go be like, hey, move your shopping cart. You're being an asshole.
There's actually a fun channel called Cart Narcs. That's all they do. They get guns pulled on them all
Yes.
the time.
What you do is you go and you look at them and you grab their cart and you stare at them and you take the cart back to the front of the store or to the little, insert where you take it, all the while never breaking eye contact with them. That's what you do. Because then you don't get yelled at, but you made a point about the social contract.
Sure.
There is nothing worse than a human being who will not return their shopping cart. That is the measure of who you are as a man or a woman. And I stand by that. And I will never, ever, ever, ever not return my shopping cart.
But I think the real guilty party here is Costco
Richard
for
doesn't
just
want to.
having great low prices on their gasoline. And this
That's
is why this is all happened in the first place.
That's right. Bring Costco to trial.
But we hope you enjoyed this discussion. If you did, consider subscribing and hitting that like button and help us fight the anti-2A algorithm by sharing this video.
Yes, and thank you again to Mr. Guns and Gear for bringing this to our attention. It is a very interesting scenario. As you can see, even Richard and I differ a little bit on it. So give us a comment below. Tell us what you think about this. Who's in the wrong? Who's in the right? If a shot had been fired, how would that jury have come down? And until next time, we're the armed attorneys.